What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and I'm joined by an incredible guest and one that we've seen before. We actually just came off almost a back-to-back featurette kind of thing of doing a live stream on his channel, and there's not even anything to bring in. Craven Something Scary is here, ladies and gentlemen. Great guy. You know him. We share the same audience. His link will be in the description. If you guys click the @ symbol, we'll take you right to his channel. Steven, how are you?
Man, I am really good. What a way to start the day, you know? Coming from a live stream
A
straight to your
double
channel,
feature.
a double feature. That's what it is, man.
We're
Back
really
to
we're
back.
going meta. We really are. But for you guys, you may if you guys haven't watched the live stream, honestly, I would say check it out because this very much may feel like a part 2 to a part 1 kind of thing. And we really don't have a plan. I mean, I think we're kind of going to pick up where your live stream left off, Steven. But however, for those that haven't seen stuff, this is the first time you and I have talked since
Yeah,
the teaser trailer came out.
that's right.
And a big theme that we talked about even in your live stream was showing a lot without showing a lot. So, what's for those that haven't seen or haven't caught up, what's your general thoughts on kind of where we're at right now with Scream 6?
Well, I have to tell you, I think we're in I think a good spot, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
that teaser trailer was really the like I call it the perfect teaser trailer for me. Like it's exactly what I wanted,
Yeah.
where it doesn't, like you said a minute ago, it doesn't really tell you anything, but it tells you enough to know this is, it doesn't, and to quote Dewey, something about this one just feels different. And it really does because I love the immediately right at the beginning where we have the stainless steel logos for
Yeah.
Spyglass. Remember, Paramount is like, well, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
And then we have the New York shots, right? And then
Yes.
we have the subway, and the whole thing just looks a little darker. It's like a gray or bluish tint,
Yeah.
if you will, to the coloring, and it makes it feel, uh, well, the words you use on the live stream, it makes it feel gritty,
Yeah.
like a much more serious movie already. Doesn't have a comedic feel at all
Yeah.
right now. Like, and so
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a great teaser. Frankly, I wish they wouldn't put anything else out, but I know they
Same.
will. But I
Yeah.
wish they wouldn't.
Well, I want to circle back. We'll talk about the if there will be like a full length trailer, which I think both of us think there will. But you mentioned comedy, which is the first time I've thought about this. Who do you think fills the role of Dewey now, or just comedic relief in general? Because there is some. I mean, you really Scream One, and I've talked about this before. Like rewatching them, not just even at home. But like I went to the theaters to watch one and then two for that 25th anniversary, and it
Yeah,
just hits kind of different, and you recognize some different stuff, and you're with more people or people you don't know, and you're like, you know what, there is some jokes and some fun to all of these films, one and two obviously I'm seeing on the big screen, but
yeah.
all of them. I mean, like Dewey I think was really good in five. I think he had some really funny lines. So
Mhm.
who do you think kind of takes that for this one? The number one, I would like Chad makes a little bit of sense, but I don't know if Chad can actually do it. I don't really know who uh Kirby a little. I mean, Kirby had some spunk to her.
She
I don't
did.
necessarily know about comedy though, but what do you think about that? That side is that is present in all the films. I don't think you can drop those kind of
Yeah,
witty jokes. I think they have to kind of be in the film.
I do too. It's part of the DNA of a Scream film.
Yeah.
There's certain expectations. You have the who done it, you've got the meta aspect,
Yeah.
commentary on horror,
Yeah.
and then there's that comedic element that's always mixed in,
Yeah.
and to where it's never a comedy, but
Right.
there's some moments where you can laugh
Yeah.
and smile. So I'm with you, man. I don't know if he can do it or not, but Chad seems to me the most likely
Yeah.
candidate. And I would say Kirby as well, but we just don't know how these last, 11, 12 years
Yeah.
for her have been. But yeah, I will say this, if they tweak her personality a little bit, but not overly tweak it,
Right.
she could bring some of those elements too. I think that can make you smile. An
Yeah.
occasional, pun or something in there, I think could work. So I'm looking more for. I don't think it's from Sam or Tara.
Yeah.
Mindy, maybe
What
a little
what was
bit, but
Tara's line at the end after she shot Amber? I mean, she did have that line,
I
which
still
was
prefer. I still prefer the Babadook.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I mean, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
something, a quick little thing.
mhm.
And Sam had, I think, some witty lines. I like the when she's basically buying time, and then she tells him that, and then the
Mm,
door opens. So like
right.
those things are cool. But yeah, because I
Yeah.
just think to Dewey and like you said, the comedic aspect of it. It's like, yeah, I wonder. And that's a question actually we've asked in terms of Dewey himself. I don't know if we've ever
Mhm.
talked about the comedic aspect of it, but we have talked about like who fills the
Yeah.
void of
Exactly.
Dewey. And that's a tough one too because we talk so much about Sidney. I do think Nev will be missed. I think
I
it'll
do
be
too.
hard to go through the whole film and not at least one time think
Yeah.
man, I would have liked to see her. But also you got another character that's also been in all the films. So
Yeah.
with that being said, like how do you I guess when you're watching the movie when you will watch six, how do you think you're gonna process no Dewey and no Sidney slash
Oh
Nev?
man, dude, that honestly, that is the big question that I've asked myself a bunch because
Yeah.
it's just gonna be strange to not see both of them in the movie,
Yeah.
and I have a feeling that I'm not. I'm gonna go in very optimistic, open-minded to the story. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like hold it against anyone per se. I'm gonna go in and try to really enjoy the film. But I do think there's gonna come a point somewhere in this movie, or maybe when it's over,
Yeah.
when I look back on it, I'm gonna be like, dang,
Yeah.
there's no Sydney, no Dewey. And it's a little sombering,
Yeah.
if you think about it. Now, Dewey was never coming back unless it's a dream sequence.
Right.
But Sydney, we still have a chance for
Yeah.
seven. I'm holding out hope for
Yeah.
seven. But Alex, I wouldn't be lying if I said it's gonna feel a little strange.
Yeah.
It will. Yeah. I mean, I just can't. You could throw it like what did Jenna say? Where they're trying to distract us with
Yeah.
action, chase scenes, gore, to try to make us forget about Nev.
Yeah.
So you can make as much noise as you want in a room, but you still doesn't change the fact we all know she's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but what do you think, man? How do
Yeah.
you think
What?
you're gonna feel watching it with both of
I,
them
I
gone?
agree even with that ending where it's like or the ending what you just said where I feel for them like as the writer like they had nothing
Yeah.
to do with it like you think
No.
about them where it's like we got this good script and we got Sydney inserted here and then
Yep.
oh she's not coming back oh you guys didn't pay her what she oh okay well, I guess we
Man.
got to rewrite and I mean that's gotta suck from
True.
specifically the writers room of
Yeah.
what are we gonna do with these scenes yeah, again, like just like you said, like I won't lie and say like I've always been pretty, on the side of if they're not in it, they're not in it, and we'll see if it hurts I'm not gonna say it's
Yeah.
gonna like massively hurt the film without seeing it, but I would be lying if I said, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Like I do think you're gonna sit there and say,
Yeah.
man, again, if nothing else, then oh wow, this is the first film without these two, the first film,
Hmm.
and like, what is that actually like? Now, I do think there's a pro con there because it could obviously lead to a con really quickly, but the
Hmm.
pro because I really do think it's going to make this movie stand out for good or bad, but it'll make
Yeah.
it stand out, and that is maybe a pro all on its own. Maybe they don't care, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
The fact that this is the movie without two of three of the main
Man.
cast
Yeah.
of the original main, you know what I mean?
It's
So,
true,
and
man.
there's something sad about that and maybe very hurtful to the film. We'll see. But there's also something kind of like special about that where it's like this is unique. You're not you
Yeah.
may actually not get this again because you may get
No.
two people in the next one if Nev comes but you know what I mean? This will be the only
Yeah.
one that maybe Nev isn't in. And like
Right.
that at least makes it stand out in some way whether it's, bad or good.
Well, and also it kind of makes you. It's like throwing. They see how you learn how to swim.
Yeah.
Just throwing the deep end. It's and you're radio silence to these
Pretty
guys, and
much.
they're in the deep end, and so we're gonna see if they can swim.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, and they did bring. Look, they bring back Kirby. They bring in Samara Weaving. I
Yeah.
mean, they are loading up the cylinder with
Yeah.
talent, and so and Jenna Ortega's already there, which we talked about earlier.
Right.
Dude, she's a powerhouse. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to like oversaturate with talent and then up the chases, up the intensity of the gore to make us just kind of like, focus on this, let's See,
Yeah.
look what's in front of you, not what's not there.
At the same time, you think of, which I just thought of this right now, the masks, right? And it's like,
Oh yeah.
man, oh man, what did they have planned with Sydney when it came to the? Because I imagine
Oh
the masks was a central theme. Because
yeah.
they talk about it as it's the central theme. So I'm going to assume
Yep.
that came first. That, or at worst, it came hand in hand, where it's like this is the
Hmm.
theme of the movie, and then we just so happen to have all these characters returning, including Nev. But now
Yep.
we don't have her, but the masks are still a central theme. So
Yeah.
did you have any clever tie-in to her, which now you have to rewrite, or you have to
Yeah.
explain away, something like, the masks.
True.
I really do, because it's harkening back to the past, and she is
Yep.
part of the past.
All the
So
way to the
it'll be
beginning.
tough to see, or it'll be cool to see. Tough for them, I'm sure, but it'll be cool to see
Yeah.
what they do.
Well, and it's interesting too. Whenever Radio Silence in the Entertainment Weekly interview said that regarding Nev, that the loss of her, it made a significant
Yeah, yeah,
impact on the script.
yeah,
So, which honestly, when I read that, I said, okay, that does away with the rumors that she had just a little cameo at the end for 30 seconds or a minute.
yeah.
Because the fact that would just, you would just erase that off. You just delete that part at the
Right.
end. But the fact that he said it greatly impacted the script made me like, oh shoot, she had a
Yeah,
bigger role.
yeah,
She did have a bigger role in 6. They wanted for
yep.
her, probably bigger than 5, or at least as
At
big.
least and even if it was the same, I mean,
Yeah,
and other people have done, timers of how long they've been in it. Like, she was in
yeah,
it 12 to 14 minutes,
hmm,
integral part of the 3rd act. Like, yeah, even if she was in it for 10 minutes, just 10
yeah,
in 6, that is still a that's, however many pages, could be 10 pages of 90, and
could
that's
be.
1/9 of the film. That's a lot in
It
terms of
is.
a lot of different things. I mean, we were talking in your live stream just in what goes into recreating the mask and suit. 10 pages of a
Yeah,
script is quite a big deal. You know what I mean?
it is, man. And I think we've talked about it before. I know we have in the past. The thing that's sad about it to me is that we're not getting the first intended version of
Yes.
what Guy and James created together.
Yeah.
And they've had to go back now and significantly rewrite the script and change it and take Nev's part out, but and do something with that or just scrap the idea
Right.
with the Nev part of it, scrap that idea. I mean, we don't know. One day maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
But it's sad to know that even as good as the movie is, we're not getting to see the vision,
Yeah.
the first A list or A script
Yeah.
for it. And speaking of the script, another thing in that same article I found interesting when they talked about the aged mask, which is prominent, man. It's in their poster.
Yeah.
It's
Straight
on
up.
the title card of the trailer. Yeah, it's right there. They're making that like a big deal.
Yeah.
And Tyler said, it was Tyler or Matt, said basically that it is a big deal. This
Yeah.
was not an arbitrary, like, oh, let's just throw an old mask in there for fan service.
Right.
That it's actually an integral part of the story. And he says, when you see it in the proper, I'm fair paraphrasing here,
Yeah.
but like in the proper context, you'll see how it's meta, but in a different way,
Right.
which is interesting. I don't know what he meant
Yeah.
by
Well, I
that.
was gonna ask you too, so I'll say mine. I'll give it to you. Like,
Yeah.
do you think it? I feel like it has to then tie into the motive. I feel like the motive
Mm,
in some way, and maybe not like, full, but it's got, because why would you be using it? And
yeah.
whether it's like, like even 5 was, all of these motives are connected in some, well, really all of them have been connected in some way to the past if you kind of
Yeah.
stretch it a little bit. So I do think
Yeah.
no matter what, this will tie into, um I'm not
Hmm.
I mean, like a cult, definitely, we always
Yeah.
thrown it out, and it seems possible. I don't think it is, but I definitely think it's like an option.
Yeah.
um
I think so
but
too, man.
something related to maybe like some sort of, they admire what's come before it. I know we've talked about, like, the mask certainly seems like four's like, how does this really deeply connect to 4? um
Yeah.
could they even bring
Yeah.
back, like, the fame and fortune kinda aspect of it as well? Like, just
Hmm.
not, well, because eventually you are gonna, there's only so many motives, and I think we've talked about
Right.
this even with 5. You can
Yeah.
only have so many motives for doing something, especially murder. Um,
Yeah.
and although
Yeah.
5, it was a risk, the whole toxic fandom thing,
Mhm.
huge risk. But it also felt very timely, even though I don't agree with with the idea generally that people kind of label fans as
Yeah.
toxic. But it felt very much like, yeah, this is
Mhm.
definitely something Scream would try to like
Yeah.
insert. I give them credit for that. I'm not gonna like hold that against them, even if I don't agree with it. Um, but eventually you run out like revenge. You can only have
Yeah.
revenge so many times.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, revenge. I mean, why do people kill? Well, passion.
Yeah,
But this is not that because this is very premeditated and
yeah,
so it's like, yeah, you're right. The list of motives gets small, man. And I guess one way you can maybe make it fresh is having multiple killers. Don't
right.
give us two, give us four,
Yeah.
five. I mean, or give us a cult. Give us. I mean, those are things that while it may not change the motive at the core, it at least dresses it up differently in an outfit.
I think a cult I think both are unique because a cult is all of these
Mhm.
individuals maybe with their own tiny like thoughts about why they're doing it, but like you said, it all
Yeah.
leads to one big one, which is
Right.
still different in a way than what they've done. And then
Hmm.
also if you have different killers on different wavelengths, period, that's also very original, I would say.
Yeah.
Is you just have them doing it for totally maybe one is revenge, and because you can't really I think that's almost like a scapegoat where you can't really call it out as a critic, you can't really say, "Oh, they've done revenge before." Well, but at the point is there's like 4 of them and revenge happens to be one of the reason, but 3
Yeah.
others they're doing it for other reasons than that one. And
True.
I think that makes it pretty unique too. Maybe here's a wild one. If they're using all of the past masks of all the past movies, is it one of each motive? That would be just
Mm.
reuse literally all 5
Wow.
of the motives. One is but like and
Mm.
that would get nuts. I don't actually think you could do that. Um But the motive of 2 is revenge. So could you
Yes.
do but that's Debbie Salt's. What about Mickey? I mean, you don't have to pick hers. You can maybe pick Mickey's reason, which was different than hers.
Yeah.
And his reason along with Five's is somewhat similar. So maybe you could cheat and kind of combine a couple. I mean, you
Yeah.
could use even motives of past movies if you wanted.
You could. Yeah. It could be like obsessed fans of all these murderous events,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know what? My favorite killings were,
Right.
or eliminations were in Woods or
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
or my favorite was in Hollywood when they tried
Yeah.
to film Stab 3. I mean, you could, yeah. And like, but then you gotta have seemingly, not necessarily, you almost seemingly though need to have one person
Yeah.
organizing it, like bringing these people together.
Yeah. Because
But
there has to be the
yeah,
big reveal at the end. There
there
has to be the
better
like,
be.
they're yeah, do you think they'd skip that part? I really don't like that. You talk about the DNA and
Yeah,
expectations. I mean, I know they're going off the script as they've talked about, but
yeah,
and and maybe it's getting tiresome to some. I really don't think so. Like the idea of revealing yourself and telling your plan. I mean,
yeah.
that's literally iconic. Like that
It
is Scream.
is.
Without that, I don't even think you have a Scream movie. I don't know. I really
Nah, I don't think so either.
it's just like you just think about and people
Yeah.
will do rankings on their favorite one. You think to the ending of one, which is just
Uh,
so iconic. Like the
mm,
house party is iconic, but also the reveal, actually I just said it. The reveal
yeah.
is always iconic in
Yes, it
some way
is.
in every single even the show, every single time. It's
Yeah.
always the big thing. You can't skip that. So like,
No.
you're right. You can't have them just there is something kind of special if they literally have no plan. They're just eliminating to eliminate. Nobody's connected, but it would be very messy because there is no big bad. You're not building to
Yeah.
anything because it'd be so sporadic and
Right.
random.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's cool, but it actually doesn't work as a film,
Mhm,
like at all. So
mhm.
I
I agree.
and we've talked about this before. It goes into like just things that like would be cool or we can come up with, but then you have to like filter them through like a film, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So it's kind of cheating because you can kind of predict things just because cinema has to be a certain way almost.
Oh gosh, man. Right. Yeah, you can almost be guaranteed, well, we know that's gonna happen and this is gonna happen,
Right.
But at the same time, like you said, we want it to happen
Yeah.
because that's why we want to watch Scream movies. We're fans of the franchise because we want the meta, we want the
Right.
reveal, who done it, mystery. We those kind of things. So I'm okay with all that. Like I really am. I think as long as they just make it their own movie, that's my biggest thing. Like let's leave the past in the past. The Wes's movies are amazing. They're, what I consider to be just the elite of slasher films for
Yeah.
me personally. So now let's see, finally, Alex, the radio silence
Yeah.
version of Scream, not the homage to Wes, which was great in five. They did that, but it wasn't really their own movie. It never felt like it was really them.
Yeah.
So I think by what we've seen so far, it's looking good.
Yeah.
And regarding the killings and the mask, and what does the old mask mean? Like you say, is it an old killer? Is it an old person from an OG previous film wearing the old mask? It could be, or it
Yeah.
could just be someone that's, like we said, is obsessed of the past. They want to be they want the embodiment of
Yeah.
Stu Macher, or Roman, or Jill, or Mickey, and Charlie, or whatever. Angelina, that's right, you heard me. Angelina. Um, that could be what it is. It could just be that. But if that is the case, though, I would hope there's a ringleader,
Yeah.
an orchestrator, a puppet master,
Yeah.
you know, that maybe they do have a deep-seated motive in
Yeah.
some way. And
Yeah.
one of those
I
people, I was just gonna say, one of those people, Alex, could be not Stu Macher, although it could be, I think, but it could be Leslie Macher.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
she's got to be considered.
Yep. And there one thing I've also kind of seen too, in regards to the core group that we have going into 6 is
Hmm.
the parents. And it's actually something
Yeah.
we talked at length about going into 5, right after 5, and I feel like nobody's ever picked it up since.
Hmm.
Do you like Sam and Tara's mom and dad, like they are
Yeah.
legitimate characters. I don't think
Yeah.
you write it in that way where you don't eventually pick it back up. In fact, the mom
Yeah.
was supposed to be in 5, right, in the one scene. So
Yep.
I like, and in that way, it could be a Debbie Salt kind of thing where
It could
we
be.
don't have a cast of them. They're in it a few scenes, but we don't recognize them because we don't even know who they are. And
Yeah.
then the characters, the right ones, don't see them to identify them. Do
Yeah.
you think their parents, whether it be in this one or the next one, do you think that's a possibility that they would go back to?
Yeah. I do, man. I think at some point, if not in this one, it's in seven. But we've got to get back to Christina Carpenter,
Yeah.
and we don't know who Tara's dad is, the one that left.
Yep.
We don't know who. Maybe we've already seen him and
Yeah.
didn't know it was him, or maybe in six we'll see him.
Right.
Now we know Christina was living in Woodsboro, who's the mother of
Yep.
the girls. So she was living in Woodsboro. So now she could be going to New York to check on her kids. I mean, that's plausible.
Yeah.
So I think it's not impossible to see the parents involved in this movie. But at some point, you've got, like, you created Leslie Mocker. We didn't know Stu had a sister. Now
True.
we do know.
Yeah.
And so you've got Leslie, you got Christina, and the unknown father. That's
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
you know, that could easily be involved
Yeah.
in any of this stuff.
Yeah, and they're
And
there. They're there to
they're
spin
there.
from if you need them, and
Yeah,
I don't, like you said, 6, it seemingly would be pretty hard for at least 2 of them. The dad could really be anywhere and anybody,
could
you know?
be.
So he could
That's right.
appear, whenever, but, specifically Woodsboro residents, unless it's a parent visiting day of the campus.
Yeah,
Which maybe, but
right.
besides that, I would like to see at the very least just to kind of keep it around, almost like just a not like a dig, but just so you know that they still are keeping them in mind. Just a call, and you see it's like
Yeah,
a cutaway kind of scene where
yeah,
Sam's saying, "All right, mom, talk to you later," and she hangs up, and like that's
yeah.
the ending, and then she talks to Tara or whatever, like just
Mhm.
something where, but yet again, the mom part of her character, even though we know so little about her, but part of her character is her not care, for either of the girls. Because
Exactly.
yeah, she doesn't care about them. She didn't even show up to Tara when she gets almost murdered. So uh,
Seriously.
interesting character. Like because I saw that, in terms of the Maureen Prescott kind of arc
Mhm.
that Sydney went on. Would
Yeah.
they do that again, or is it almost like a red herring where they keep it around just to kind of make it known, like, well, they do have parents, like obviously, but we're not going to
Yeah.
really do, and we're not going to repeat
Mhm.
1 through 3 in
Right.
that way. Which I'm not saying you have to do 1 through 3, but there'd be something kind of special to. Well, did you see? I never actually talked to you about this. Did you see that whole script thing for 3, the original first script that was going around online last week?
I knew about it. It was for Scream 2, right?
No, 3.
It
It's
was
the one
3.
where her dad, Sydney's dad's the killer. The original.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
I haven't got to read that one yet, man.
Yeah. Well, I just spoiled that one, but
That's
at the
okay.
at the end of the day, for Scream 3, her Sydney's dad is the killer. So
Oh,
that's pretty. So I wonder, like, do you
wow.
do you delve into that? Because they never did that. I mean, they were going to, and then they never did it. So
Interesting.
could you do that with and yeah, and Mark Kincaid he was originally gonna die. There was a lot of stuff in that
Oh,
script.
wow.
Nuts. Yeah. So a lot of it's the same. Like the knife that throws and spins and hits Dewey, that's the same. And there's a lot of set pieces that are the same, but the killers are swapped. So yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know if you ever kind of go back into the is
Good.
what would be so or what would steer us the wrong way more than something like that? You have 1,000 cast members for this one. You start
Yeah.
to look at them all suspiciously, and
Mhm.
it's their dad, somebody that we've
Ooh.
never talked about. Would
Yeah,
that make
hey,
you upset, or would that surprise, like
uh,
in a good way?
yeah, no, it wouldn't have made me upset, man. I think I'd be up for that. Uh, because you got Hank Loomis,
Yeah,
you got Neil Prescott, um, and we also know that, um, what's her name? Leslie? Yeah, that's Stu's sister, and then Christina and the, father of Tara, all
yeah,
of them were there in '96.
yeah,
So going way back, and so it would be interesting to introduce one of these parents. That would be Debbie Salt again,
yeah,
right? Similarly, at least.
right,
But I mean, hey, look, I'm okay with that too, as long as it's original. Like,
yeah,
do it in a different way. And I've been talking about Debbie Salt 2.0, Alex. It's gonna be a guy this time, and that's what I've been calling for it to happen via one of these new guys. But to your point, maybe it's not one of the new guys. Maybe it's an older guy
yeah,
like Hank and Neil or
yeah,
someone else that could be from the past. Um, because that old mask, I mean, I know that they allegedly are on display in the museum, remember, and
yeah,
they're going to get them all. But that doesn't mean there's still not significance with that mask, with who's wearing it. Like we
right.
touched on earlier, right? Like it could be someone who says, "No, that's the mask I'm going to wear."
Yeah, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So I mentioned, instead of like the killer, so instead of the killers almost adopting the motive of the ghost face mask that they're wearing of that movie, what? And here's an issue, and here would be a huge issue without having Sydney. What if the entire point is they're picking the mask to go after the victim of that movie? So
Ooh.
two's mask would go after Gale, which makes a lot of sense, and you could easily see happening. Scream
Okay.
4 would clearly be Kirby. 5 would
Mm,
be the entire cast that's coming back. So, but
yeah.
here's the issue. Who do you go after for 3 and who do you go after for 1? The answer for 1 is Sydney, and that is why she could have great significance to the script. Because
Yeah.
if they're targeting, and that does make sense if they're going after survivors, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Um, Now the only thing linking that, of course, would be Kirby and Gale, different eras. And we'd have to wait for the movie or at least the trailer to see
Yeah.
if the idea is, are they, because we talked about on your live stream, does Kirby insert herself in when she
Mhm.
wasn't a part of it, or does she get brought in because she is a part of it? And that will
Yes.
hugely matter, because if she's a part of it
Yes.
by not choice, then they're targeting her, which means they probably are targeting Gale, and they're and I could see the Scream 2 thing being Gale
Mhm.
because as a meta thing, they know that Scream 2 was more Gale's movie, character arc,
True.
the iconic chase, you know. So I
Yeah,
think
man.
that's why it would be Gale. But
Yeah.
one would have to be Sidney. And that probably, if I'm right, that would
Yeah.
be where you'd run into significant issue. Yet again, three. Three, you'd run into significant issues too. Who do you pick for three?
Ah,
Gale again?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think who else it would be because,
There's
I
literally only
mean,
three of them.
it's only the 3 of them. Mark Kincaid,
Oh, yeah, they could. I mean,
I
they could
mean,
do like a phone call or a text or
right?
I
I mean,
don't know.
it's a long
I
shot.
wonder if that is the reason that those
Yeah.
masks are so important is because they represent an era. Even you could look at
It's
an era
interesting.
of failure. They all failed to kill
Yeah.
these people.
They
And
did,
now
man.
this new person and that oh man, that I think that actually kind of be a cool theory or a cool motive. I'm going to succeed where
Where you
all of you
f
failed
Yeah,
in
that's
all the
right.
different eras. And not only will I succeed, I'm going to wear your mask that you failed to kill them.
Oh, bro.
I actually think that
Dude,
could be it.
I
I'm not
like
going to lie.
that. I like that motive. That's awesome. Like, I'm gonna show you how it's really done
Yeah.
in your mask, and here's how you should have done it. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I love it.
And in
I
order to
love that
do
idea.
that, you would have to be successful in killing at least some of them. So that would put them in huge, at least a couple.
Yeah.
And when,
Yeah.
we had the comment on your stream,
Yeah.
at least two of those six.
2 of those 6. Yeah. Ah.
I like it. I
I
like it,
like
but
it.
you
I
run
like it
into
too.
you run into severe issues with 1 and 3. If that's the
Yeah.
idea, and I don't know how you write your way out of that. Um, I really actually don't know
Mm.
how you. I actually feel like that's such a big gaping hole because that's 2 out of 5 that you almost would have to change it because of that. But you would have the
Yeah.
3 issue no matter what. That's the thing too. 3 would be a problem for any.
Unless, it can get convoluted here, I understand, but Angelina,
Yeah,
if
that's
somehow she
true.
survived, that little flimsy
Yeah,
shoulder stab,
yeah.
it's all we saw. If she survived that, then, I mean, you could.
Could be a Vince, like a very fast
Yeah.
Vince thing where you just hear
Yeah.
about it. Because again, we've talked
True.
about not just Vince's death, but also how Vince was injected into why things are happening. It was just a throwaway line in the house saying, "Oh, this is how he's connected to the family," or the
Right.
origin story. But it was a very
Yeah, yeah,
quick
yeah.
thing.
It
You could do
was.
that with her too, just a text. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people, I've said this before, not to be mean to 3, but, like, a lot of people, 3 is the weakest, but also not even
Yeah.
I mean, that's subjective, but also 3
Right.
is the least viewed, I think. I don't even think that is subjective, I think that's objective. That
Mhm.
Scream 3, I don't know how many people see it, saw it, remember it,
Yeah.
specifically this new age in this new era.
Right.
So it would work, and it'd be a really cool kinda deep cut that people like you and I, would be
Oh,
very
yeah.
you probably more than I, but would be very, excited about, but at the
Yes.
same time, you'd have to do it in a way where it's not, it's in your face, but it's not too in your face because some people I just think would flat out not know, at all.
Right. Some people won't get it. But, at the same time, look at all the Easter eggs they're putting in this movie that a lot of people are not gonna
Yeah.
get.
It's
Like,
true.
I mean, think about that. You got Abe's snake,
Yeah,
for what you got the Milton building. They changed the address to 1939. I
true.
mean, I mean, the part of me that's almost like, you know what, for those of you legacy fans that go back to the original, like me, for example,
Yeah,
we're gonna make stuff that is for you.
yeah,
And then you can have the joy of telling the newbies
yeah, yeah.
what that means.
Well, it's like we talked about in your stream with, Lucy Hale's Sherry, right?
Yeah, she
I'm
is
really
Sherry.
I hope I nailed it the second time. But, like,
You got it.
we know that, but some
Right,
people well, even before they told us the name, some people may know it as Lucy Hale. Some people
right.
may not know it, period. So there's
True.
gonna be those 3 different and
Yeah,
it's just a throwaway kinda thing. So
and
yeah.
it lasts what, 2 seconds?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
like a
didn't
f
honestly I don't even think I saw it until and even when people posted the picture of Ready or Not,
yeah.
like, all eyes are on her, and you don't
Yes.
even I never even looked down.
I
Just look
I
down
didn't
just a
either.
little bit, and you'll see a legitimate Scream reference, not even just a movie they made, a legitimate Scream reference or Stab reference. Um, it's
Dang.
nuts how again how deep that went. I mean, that's just another example.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true, man. There's a lot more in that little trailer than you think.
Yeah.
A lot. It's worthy of breaking down, which I haven't done yet, but it's on
Well,
my
you've done a lot of
list.
other stuff though.
A lot of other stuff for sure. Yeah. Um, it's exciting, man. I think this is what a fun time, Alex, to be a Scream fan.
Yeah.
This is to me. I know it's Christmas week. It's only fitting.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas time for us because we get to theorize and look for all the dots, try to connect them together, and
Yeah.
um, we got a lot more of that to go. The
Yeah,
next three,
and
the
well, and
next,
speaking of that,
yeah,
and for the last question of this video, in
yeah,
terms of a Scream 6 trailer, couple
okay,
different kind of branching parts, I think we're both in full agreement that it will happen. Even and I think we're
hmm,
also in full agreement, we don't really need it, but
right,
we will get it. So,
yep,
how long do you think it would be? When do
okay.
you think it would be? And are you worried about it in terms of spoiling?
I think it's going to be like last year's. I think it's going to come in about 2 minutes and
Yeah.
20 seconds. Uh, and am I worried about it? You said right. I have to remember all the.
Yeah, worried and then when? When would
Oh,
it
that's right,
release?
the win. Okay, so am I worried? Yes, I am,
Yeah.
and it's not radio silence thing. It's the marketing. It's the team that does the trailers.
Yeah.
That's who I'm worried about, honestly. So I'm afraid they're gonna spoil everything in this trailer, and I'm just like, please don't, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but when is it gonna come out? I think it's gonna come out. Super Bowl week is wait, look, what's the date this year? It's coming up. Super Bowl's coming up on. I think it's the. Is it the 8th, Alex?
Oh,
February
man.
the 8th. Is the 8th? The 8th or the 1st?
I
I
just pray
can't.
the Bills are a part of it. I don't
Right? Oh
let's
no,
see.
sorry. 5th or the 12th. I was in the wrong month. So February 5th or the 12th.
12th.
It's the
February
12th.
12th. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So wouldn't it be something if we got the trailer dropping on Super Bowl
Oh my
Sunday? Could you imagine? I know it's going to be really expensive to do
Yeah,
that.
that just doubles their budget.
Yeah, right? I just think it'd be really cool to see a Scream commercial on the biggest platform of the world,
Yeah.
basically, at least for America for sure.
Yeah. Or
For
even if not a TV
yeah,
spot at that
yeah,
point, because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
the movie comes out on March 10th, so
yeah,
you're a little less than a month. You'd be calling it close. Now, well, you have the background of Halloween, of how
yeah,
they did it. I do think it would make sense because of that kind of era. I mean, like it's not so wild. Where I think in the past it would be very wild that your first and probably
yeah.
only then trailer would be
So,
28 days before the
ooh,
movie comes. Like that'd be calling it close. But for
yes,
this
yeah,
modern era, and if you're copying Halloween, and if you really want to keep Scream secret, which maybe they really do, maybe they do wait all the way till February.
I mean, if it wasn't for the Super Bowl, I would say probably January, mid-January,
Yeah,
but and it's a part of me that still thinks by late January
yeah,
we're gonna get that trailer because Super Bowl is expensive, man,
it is. It's a
really
lot of money.
expensive. Like I don't know, I haven't done the math, but like significantly higher.
Yeah,
So I would think maybe more realistically,
yeah,
probably the end of January, mid to
yeah.
mid to late January, we'll get the full trailer. That's
Yeah.
my guess.
I'm in agreement. I'm concerned, and for
Yeah,
no other reason than not just because of the failed attempt of last time, but also you just look at how easy it is, at least for us. Maybe not
yeah,
for the majority of other people, but at least for us, very easy to start to break stuff down, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate kind of thing, but it's the age we're in, and fans.
yeah.
It's why you have fans in the first place, honestly, arguably.
It
Um,
is.
but we're gonna be like, no matter what they show, we're gonna be able to break it down. We just
Oh
are.
yeah. Oh,
We
we're
we
gonna do
already
it.
started to break down the train, whether it's
Hmm.
a different day, for Minnie's thing, as we've talked. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
you
man.
could start to. You can at least start to have options. You could write them down, and then
Hmm.
over the next couple months of whatever they show, you could start crossing them off or circling. Oh, that's the one that they're going with. It's just how it works.
It is.
So
It
yeah, I'd
is.
prefer nothing. But I
Right.
do think no matter what, It does seem like maybe just one trailer, which yet
Yeah,
again, the original 5 only had that one, right?
it
And then it
just
just
had the
had
one.
then
Then
it
it
had
had
like
like
20 TV spots.
20 of these little TV spots are like
Yeah.
15 seconds, some were 30, all over the world. Like, I mean, I remember Brazil and
Yeah.
from Mexico we
Yeah.
got, and it was all over the place.
But that's the one we
But
got. I mean, we got Judy's death through that, so thanks for that. And then we
yeah,
also I think that's when Sam was hallucinating when she was in the like
yeah.
with the water splashing on her in the
Oh
break
yeah,
room.
yeah,
That
man,
I'm almost positive came from a TV spot. It didn't
yeah,
have Billy, but people did kind of. I think there were absolutely. It maybe even Fate had made videos where it's like there's something odd about the framing and
right,
maybe she'll talk to somebody there. Um,
yeah,
it's just what's gonna happen. So,
yeah,
but
man,
again, I mean, they have what they did behind them. Like you need to be able to
yeah.
learn and fix that stuff.
I
Whether
would hope so.
and neither of us, I think we're both blaming the right. Yeah, fingers crossed. We're both blaming the right people in the
Yeah,
marketing.
absolutely.
But even if we want to do that again, even if we're blaming the right people and not the wrong people, they still have to learn from that mistake. Somebody needs to
Exactly.
talk to them, or you need to swap out people. I mean, you can't do that again. But yet again, maybe they don't care.
Man.
They made a lot of money with 5.
Right?
Do they hear us? Yeah, like for gaming,
Uh,
I can be confident or not confident depending on the game or studio if
the
they
studio.
care about what fans say. Movies,
Yeah,
it's even harder. I think overwhelmingly movies don't care what fans say.
yeah,
So I don't know if they actually had heard, but yet again, there has to be some sort of integrity where it's like, well,
yeah.
maybe showing Sam stabbing Richie was a mistake, or Amber
Right?
on fire.
Ever
Maybe
on
we shouldn't have
fire.
done something like that. There
Dude,
has to be even if they don't hear us complaining about it, there has to
right?
be some form of self reflection where it's like, well, did we have to show Amber on fire though? You know?
No, exactly. They didn't have to do that. I'm sure the marketing team was like, "Hey, man, we got all these really cool shots. Ooh, I want to. It's like a new toy. Like,
Yeah,
yo, I want to put that on the screen. Now look at this thing burning up here."
yeah,
And but and so for them, they may feel like, "Look at all we did. Look at all the excitement this is going to draw."
yeah,
But what you got to remember though is that's great, but don't ruin the movie. Brought Peter to pay Paul. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
and I know that like I don't like Alex, you've had we've had this discussion. Look, if you're gonna slow the trailer down, you don't complain if you see stuff they may
yeah,
not intentionally wanted you to see.
yeah,
But I'm thinking to myself, at the same time, I'll own that part of it, but that doesn't mean you also shouldn't have a stake in owning it, the studio,
yeah,
right? Like you don't have to put you don't have to show us Richie's hairline
yeah.
and plaid shirt when Sam's coming down. All you got to do is crop it. I mean, the simplest video editing software
Yeah,
will let you just slide that up a quarter inch,
yeah.
and we don't know who she's stabbing. But that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. It's like, do they really care? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, they're gonna make the trailer they're gonna make. But I hope Radio Silence talked to them and said, "Don't blow it this time."
yeah.
I really
Well,
hope
I'm
so.
with you on the, final thoughts, I guess, I'm with you on if you're gonna slow it down if there's things so, like, the Scream 6 teaser trailer is actually a really good example, like, if we spot things because of that teaser trailer, I would blame myself, I'd blame us, because I do
Right.
think on initial viewing one time,
Hmm.
you don't see a lot of it.
No,
And
not at all.
it's a really good trailer, tension, like normies, as they're just very good. And including from diehard fans, extremely good.
Yeah.
But for like Scream 5's trailer, I'll say the same thing. For some of the things,
Yeah.
if you're analyzing every single scene, yes, that's on us. If you can spot it though first time, so like Amber on fire, I remember waking up too early that morning and watching it and then doing the video on the
Yeah.
first viewing. I said, "Is that her?" And I maybe didn't know names yet or I'm like, "Is that
Right.
her?" And then then you stop it,
Oh
and then you
yeah.
start to analyze, and you're like, "Oh, that's absolutely her." But if you can
100%.
do it on the first try and say, "Oh, what is that this girl? Whatever, maybe we know her name, maybe we don't. Is that her on fire?" So that means she's the
Oh
killer. If you can do that on the first
yeah.
try, that's on them, fully 100% on them,
Yeah.
not on me. And
Yeah.
I'll always that's why I've always gotten very defensive of
I
the
know
people
you.
online that talk
Yeah.
about the, analyzing. It's true. If you I would
Yeah.
maybe say the Richie thing, maybe. I don't know if you can pick that up on the first time without
Right.
pausing. But maybe you
Probably
can.
not.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Judy, I could actually on the first time as well, the TV spot, because you can
Oh,
see the
dude.
hair and the hand.
Yes,
So
the
that one you
female
could see the
hand.
first try, no stopping
Oh,
required. So I
no,
mean, there's some times where even some of the things
man.
they ruined for 5, some of them I would blame
Yeah.
myself. The majority actually, though, I would blame them. So we'll see how they do it for. They're starting good because
Oh,
there's
starting good.
and anything you can say about the 6 trailer, you have to really pause it. Those cracks in the glass, and is Mindy
Mm,
with them? And Ghostface, as we just, doesn't seem to be in the train with the other dressed up
nope.
like that stuff you really don't get on the first try because it jumps back and forth, lights are
It's so
flashing.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and different perspectives are being shown. Like there's so much stuff happening so quickly without pausing, you can't catch it. So that's squarely
No,
on us this time, which
it
is fine.
is.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I own it. Like I said already, I'll take ownership of that. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'm not gonna hate him for that because you have to show something.
yeah,
You got but just don't show us the third act.
yeah.
That's all.
The
Just don't
strict
show us.
rule. There needs to be a thing on the wall, like where they
Yeah.
add it on the computers above them, just on a piece of paper. Don't show the last 40 minutes,
Yes. No.
and that's it.
Give us the first quarter, first half of the movie.
Yeah,
Fine. Go for it.
yeah,
But
and that's it.
and that's
Well,
it.
make sure you guys, if you haven't subscribed, of course, to Craven Something Scary, you do so. His link will be in the description. Click the @ sign. Honestly, always so much fun having him on. We did it
Oh
as a
man.
back-to-back kind of featurette. You guys may
Yeah.
watch, one or the other, but I really do appreciate, Steven being here. So thank you, man, so much for
Dude,
being on.
my pleasure. Anytime, Alex. I love talking screen with you, buddy. And I just appreciate the opportunity to come hang out in your neck of the woods, man. It's always a good time.
Of course, of course. So make sure you guys show him some support. Subscribe here if you haven't already. All that good stuff. Merry early Christmas by the next time Steve and I are together. It'll be the new
Yeah.
year, and it'll be a big one. He's a screen stick.
Yes.
So thank you all for watching, for all your support, for both of us, honestly. And we will see you
Yes.
all on the next one.